Hello everybody, welcome. I'm No02, thank you for watching this video. I am quite excited to actually be sharing this video with you here. I gotta say, this is not an ad, this is not a sponsorship. I don't like saying this phrase, but this is like me trying to spread awareness. I have chosen the next game that I'm going to continue my content creator journey with. Going back to my RTS roots, I began my channel playing Iron Harvest. I'm picking a new RTS game, actually being published by the same people who now currently publish Iron Harvest, Prime Matter Games. There'll be a ton of links in the description of this video, and I'll just mention them briefly throughout the video as it goes on. But this is the game that I have chosen to make guides for, to dive deep into. Crossfire Legion. Again, not an ad, not a sponsorship. This game is going to be going into early access on Tuesday for me, the May 24th, May 25th, depending when you live. There's going to be a link in the description to the dev blog that talks about all of the release dates, system requirements, and what content there is to be expected in the early access. I do want to put an emphasis on that. It's going to be in early access. This game is not 100% complete. More complete than Immortals Gates of the Pyre right now, I think, right? So, which is why I've sort of chosen it over that game. There's going to be, you'll see all the content in the dev blog link, but a ranked ladder and PvE and things like that. But I do want to be objective about this because from what I've seen, the demo that I played some months ago, and the streams that they've done, Prime Matter Games have done as far as showing off the content and the trailers and things like that. I mean, this is not going to be a StarCraft killer. This is not going to be, I think, necessarily revolutionizing the RTS world, things like that. But I do think that this game is going to deserve more attention that it's going to end up getting. I think it's going to be a solid little RTS game, which is sort of why I've chosen it, because one, I've had a lot of fun playing it. Actually, a lot of fun playing it. But when people ask that sort of question of like, oh, I'm a first-time MMO player, first-time first-person shooter player, right? I'm looking to get into a new genre of video game. What should I play? And so for the RTS question of that, I think this is going to be a rather decent first-time RTS game for those of you out there who've never played one before. Which is why I'm also very excited, because I'm going to be releasing content for this game. And the first bit of content is going to be bottom of the barrel, brand new to the genre. You don't know what RTS stands for, RTS guides, where I'm going to be teaching you literally like the terminology, the concept, the play cycle of all of the everything, literally everything, under the assumption that you've woke up from a coma and never heard of an RTS before. I'm going to be starting from the very bottom of how to play an RTS game in PvP online against other people and things like that. So I'm very excited for that content and that journey. I hope you take it with me. Crossfire Legion, just to sort of explain to you, it's an RTS game set in the, whatever, semi-futuristic dystopian world where three factions are going to be duking it out for supremacy and controlling the world so that they can better it for mankind, blah, 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 blah. If you're familiar with Command and Conquer, the devs have talked about at length trying to recapture that feeling. And I think to some extent they've done that. This game sort of feels like Command and Conquer, but has pacing and economy and things like that sort of similar to StarCraft. Kind of a neat game. I'm going to talk about the things that I like about this game, and I'm going to talk about the things that I'm worried about. I'm just saying worried because the early access is happening soon. And I think a lot will be revealed then, and I think there'll still be hope and potential for the game to grow into something really cool at release. But it's got this Command and Conquer feel to it with a more modern take and graphics and things like that. But it's sort of claim to fame here. The really interesting thing that this RTS game is going to do is that it's going to allow you to customize what units are in your army. That's its niche. That's its win condition, essentially. And it's also part of why the game is so simple. You actually only have access to, I think, I don't remember, 6 or 7 or 8 units, plus a commander. Your commander will have global map abilities or whatever. that you can cast and do stuff and call in artillery strikes and etc. Right? So you'll pick a commander, multiple commanders to pick from, different abilities and skills. In theory, different play styles. Right? That's what they've talked about. That's the goal. You then customize your army. So you have like, yeah, again, 6 to 8 card slots, I think they call them, where you choose what units are in your army with some limitations to some extent. And so you might say, I have I don't know, a infantry unit that does XYZ. I can replace them with a different infantry unit that does XYZ or does ABC. And then I can go over here and change this unit. And so you can have, in theory, maybe an artillery heavy composition, and the idea is that you're going to have different options to customize what units are in your army and sort of mix and match. Kind of a neat idea, especially for future content where you might be able to release new units. Sorry, back to the microphone. Release new units, release new commanders in conjunction and with that as well as having the control of how many units players have in a match. Sort of not in total, but limiting the match to literally 7 or 8 units, which I think StarCraft probably has a little bit more, right? There's going to be a lot more potential for balance in the long run, because you might say, oh, this unit and this unit combined would be super powerful. But if we put those 2 units in the same card slot, you can't have both. You have to have one or the other. And it's actually sort of like it's actually how like Hearthstone, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, all the trading card games, actually how they balance themselves over time is by sort of cycling cards out of the rotation and putting new cards in. This game won't necessarily do that, but will have the abilities to sort of put certain units into certain slots to help prevent overpowered combinations and things like that. Just sort of in a general sense, I think there's a lot of potential with this idea of being able to customize your army, mix and match. Kind of a cool thing. With the Command and Conquer feel, got the card slot thing going on for it. Had a lot of fun playing this game back in the demo and stuff like that. Things that I'm concerned about. It is going to early access, and for the most part, early access is just like, I don't want to be too bold here. I don't know the financial situation of I think it's Smilegate and Blackbird Interactive and Prime Matter. I don't know what's going on here, but typically early access is like, video games are investment. They've actually already pushed back the release date for this early access to try and polish up the game some more. But video games eventually need some money coming into them so that devs can keep working on them. So I think it's important to note that early access is basically just paid beta. And sort of just helps the devs to measure how much interest there is and things like that, as well as potentially get stronger and better feedback, because the people who take the time to actually play have to pay. And those people are more interested, maybe more passionate, maybe in theory, potentially going to give better feedback, or more likely to give feedback at all in the first place. But up until this point, I think relatively small sample size. So the things that I'm worried about is like PvP balance. We'll have to see what that looks like and feels like in the long run when it is on release. PvE, I don't want to necessarily directly compare this game to anything else, really. But it's going to have an emphasis on PvE, this like cooperative playstyle, which is going to be really good for casual players to have some more longevity and replayability in the game after the campaign has been completed. And my concern is when it comes to PvE RTS content, StarCraft 2 has like a commander mode that's been quite successful for it, I think. And so I think in that regards, you have to ask yourselves, is the PvE game mode that Crossfire Legion is going to have going to be fun enough and diverse enough that it's going to keep a solid player base over the course of time? We shouldn't really expect, all games go down in population over time. We'll just have to see how it plays out, sort of just in general. But so I'm worried about the PvP balance. I'm really interested to see what the PvE ends up looking like, how it feels, how people really like it. Because I think that's going to be sort of like the bread and butter, potentially. That's going to be where the bulk of the player base might remain for some time. It's funny enough, we always view RTS games as like these hardcore online ESL competitive. That's what people are doing in RTS games. The reality of it is, maybe like 5, 10, 15% of players in any RTS are actually the online competitive RTS players. So why I'm actually really excited to do my new player's guide into PvP for this game is just because I think there's nothing quite like an RTS journey. It's just it can be very brutal, and it takes a lot of thought, and I think it can be really fun and rewarding over time to sort of delve deep into an RTS and see if you can make progress and have success into the future and things like that. So that's my 2 cents on this. I'll probably be doing another review on this game when it comes out in early access on May 24th, May 25th. Crossfire Legion. I've had a lot of fun playing it. I think it's not perfect. There's going to be some problems. There's probably going to be some major hurdles that this game needs to get over. And we'll have to, just time will tell if the devs can do it successfully. Let me check my notes here. I mean, yeah, for the most part, they set out to have this sort of command and conquer feel, old school RTS feel. I think they've done it. I think they have avoided using command and conquer as a term. They've been using old school RTS feel. But that's what it is. It feels like sort of like it's got sort of a command and conquer feel to it. Links to the dev blog with the release dates. I'm actually going to also put a link to a casted game from the demo from months ago. So a lot of that content has been changed or updated, but it's going to give you a good general sense of like what this RTS game has to offer, what it looks like, what it could feel like. Kind of cool, neat game with big mechs, big futuristic mechs walking around and things like that. Let me know what you guys think. So I hate using this phrase, but just spreading awareness. Just letting you guys know that this game is on the horizon, that I'll be diving into it a little bit, and I would love to see you come along the journey with me for this game. I think it could be a lot of fun. We'll just see we'll see how well it does and how long it lasts, and yeah, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it, and I will see you in the future.